What's up, everybody? My name is Aaron, and welcome to the Mad Maker Studio. We're playing 80 Days, we're on day 16, and all we have to do now is sleep at a hotel, and then we can plot our next course. I woke this morning in the silks of an Ottoman harem girl. Worse yet, I was in the forbidden women's apartments of Topkapi Palace. I had no memory of the previous night. It came back to me all too clearly. I had no memory of the previous night, at least none I wished to record, but quickly ascertained the peril of my position. Having no claim to Ottoman royalty, it was not just my master's wager at stake. What does that mean? It was not just my master's wager at stake. Men were forbidden here, and the punishment was liable to be most severe. There was one only option: to adjust the veil over my face, keep my head down and run. Let's adjust the veil over my face, put a sway into my hips and brazen it out. Alas, the morning light was less forgiving to my disguise. After some confusion, shouting and dashing about, I took a brief but refreshing swim in the Bosphorus. I scaled one of the outer walls using a palm tree. Let's swim. I took a brief but refreshing swim in the Bosphorus and emerged intact into the gentle mid-morning sun, wearing a thoroughly rumpled suit of lady silks. I found Monsieur Fogg reading a newspaper. Back at our lodgings, he looked up and blushed a most violent shade of red as he took in my attire, setting his cup down with uncharacteristic force. I gave my master a much abbreviated account of my adventures, and yet somehow the matter quietly dropped. I think I should explain myself. I gave my master a much abbreviated account of my adventures, but I do not think he really understood. Still, I stammered through my words before we settled in to consider the next course of our journey. Relations with Fogg have deteriorated slightly. The harem silks should fetch a good price in Heil. We should decide to sell them. Are they in my suitcase? That would be hilarious. Yep. That's so funny. I'm gonna start selling things soon, but I need to find out, I mean, I need this. Is it gonna show me? So once I buy the map, I can sell the map, and that'll free up space in my suitcase. Ooh, getting down to Australia is going to be a long journey. I should probably be our final destination is Australia, I would think. But look at this island. Oh dear. Explore. Antalya, that sounds familiar? Or maybe we asked somebody about it. I found myself in the historic quarter of Sultanahmet in the shadow of the glorious minarets of the Blue Mosque. I had some hours before I had to return to Monsieur Fogg, and I was finding myself attracting some entertaining attention in my flashing silks. I haven't changed yet. I made my way to the Grand Bazaar, a covered market holding thousands upon thousands of stalls, divided into streets of vendors selling everything from Turkish leather slippers to dried fruits and nuts stacked in precarious pyramids. The vendors called out in every language known to man. I'd wager some entirely invented. I pressed into the raucous throng. I skirted the edge of it. Let's throw ourselves right in the middle of it, shall we? My senses overwhelmed by the calls of the vendors and the aromas of cinnamon and mint. From the man's stall, I picked up a worked silver dagger. Ah, the Balkan Khanjar with watered steel blade. A formidable choice, mademoiselle, the vendor enthused. A ceremonial item, although, and he winked, it may have practical uses for a beautiful lady such as yourself. I fixed him with a haughty gaze. I smiled at him, and he offered me the dagger for £60. It was way too much, so I left with a nod and walked away. I explored the city further. The streets were full of magnificent sights. Bright marbled mosques with minarets that glowed in the sunlight. Historic places with rambling manicured gardens. Gold-curtained carriages drawn by mechanical horses, enameled in scarlet and purple. Oh my. It was such a beauty that my eyes began to ache, and I surprised myself with a desire to return to the more drab tones of my master. Your character is now well healed. Okay, and I've been ignoring this thus far, but we do get little facts, I guess, from the people that we converse with. So, Istanbul... What's going to be the most beneficial for us? We've done a fantastic a bell curve. We're already on day 17. It's going to cost us 22 health. Sure, let's go there. But it doesn't depart. Nothing departs till tomorrow, so we need to go to the hotel. Cover 4 HP. With the last light of the evening, I afforded my master every service. I spent a few hours polishing shoes in the lobby. I went to stretch my legs. I guess we should take care of our master if he's taking care of our paycheck, you know what I mean? I afforded my master every service, providing him with a haircut with the hopes he would have a comfortable night. Relations with Fogg have improved slightly. Because I am still concerned that he will abandon me midway through this journey if I upset him too much. The coloring on the globe is tripping me out a little bit because I'm expecting these darker masses to be water when I'm zoomed in and the lighter colored ones land, but it's the opposite and it's really tripping me out. Shoot. Okay, let's go. Got way too much luggage. Goods from across Europe were taken by a steam carriage across the Ottoman Empire. We found a shipment heading for Antalya and jumped aboard. The driver was a young boy. I paid little attention to our driver. The driver was a young boy who wore thick, darkened goggles and a headscarf tied tight around his head to keep out the dust. He looked terribly hot. He gestured to us to hold on, then stoked the fire, opened the steam valve, and took off at a terrific speed up the steep road slope. Oh yeah, that's right, we get to converse. Just watching the scenery. Greetings, driver. Don't worry, you won't distract me from the road. Antalya. I'm sure you know all about Antalya. Antalya is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Antalya, Tehran. Is it possible to go from Antalya to Tehran? Probably, but some buyers will pay well for their woolen cloaks from Tehran. Alexandria. Absolutely. My aunt once took the merchant trader Nefertiti from Antalya to Alexandria. Okay, so I guess that's just... yeah, so the places we ask about. I think it would be cool to go to Egypt. Soon the sea was far behind us, and we were making our way along winding roads, tossing from one side to the other. The boy took each corner with easy familiarity, or I began to feel quite seasick from it all. Well, I don't want to hurt myself, so... The boy took each corner with easy familiarity, moving the steering lever with quick flicking motions. You have been to Istanbul before? The boy demanded. You are frequent travelers? We are going around the world, I replied cheerfully. Around the world? The boy laughed wildly. How I would love that. When I grow up, I will be an adventurer. You have the spirit for it, I agreed, and as though to prove me right, he steered with ever more savage abandon. Oh, we could talk to Fogg. Have our relations improved enough that we could converse with our employer? That night, we slept in the carriage, which unfolded rather cleverly to form a tent. I discovered a certain detail during the night, but I will keep it to myself, which I will share here. As I went out to stretch my legs prior to attempting to sleep, I came across our driver a short distance from the carriage, sans headscarf and goggles. Perhaps you can deduce what I saw. Without this disguise, it was quite obvious, but I have said too much already. Without this disguise, it was quite obvious that our driver was not a boy at all. He was not even human. Monsieur Fogg was oblivious, sleeping quite comfortably. My master chooses to regard the world thus, behind closed lids. The next day, I said nothing to our driver. I accosted our driver. No, I spoke gently to our driver, but what I'd seen. I said nothing to our driver, and we continued the journey amicably, if somewhat more quietly than before. A few more hours passed, and we arrived within the sight of the sea once more. I gotta be quick. Our health is down to 87. We got in the market Eastern spices. So we've got good quality spices, valuable the world over. Leather braces, braces made from fine cowhide, flexible but highly durable under the greatest of strains. And a thick volume listing all the train routes for India. Well, that's definitely something that we should get. Ooh, okay, great. Let's sell our drinking horn for 3,800 pounds. Did we get rid of our cold weather stuff? Should we keep it? Let's get the timetable. Okay, we don't need that anymore. Alright, I'll leave the spices. Let's go ahead and back out of here. Alright, let's plan. Where should we go to next? Egypt sounds fun. That'll take us through Africa, but we've already got routes to go through India. So maybe we go across Asia. Everything departs in 2 days, so let's just go here. I spent my afternoon rambling around Kalishi, the historical center of Antalya, which was where I happened upon a group of Turkish dockhands unloading crates of Venetian goods into a warehouse flying the French flag. I will once again apologize for my horrific pronunciation of words I've never either seen before nor understand. They had a passable grasp of French. Speaking to them was a tiresome affair. I had no interest in dockhands. They had a passable grasp of French, no doubt a prerequisite of working for their French employer, one Monsieur Fontaine. Though we've never met him, one of them added bitterly. Is he a good employer? I asked politely, simply to make small talk. Alas, my innocent inquiry was not taken as such. Why do you ask? The dockhand fired back, crossing his arms. Perhaps you are Monsieur Fontaine. My name is Passepartout, I protested. A likely story, was their retort. That is not even a real name, a most hurtful accusation, and despite my protests to the contrary. So I revenged myself by threatening to cut their pay. Nah, I don't want to do that to them, and despite my protests to the contrary, the idea of their master masquerading as a tourist was not to be dislodged. I took my leave as quickly as possible before they began demanding a pay raise from me, and made my way back to my own employer. Relations with Fogg have improved slightly. Explore. I struck up a few conversations here and there, hunting for options for how we might proceed. Okay, so we don't need that anymore. Maybe I say goodbye to some things and just, because I'm already 25% through my 80 days. I'm on day 20. Maybe I just start throwing things out, just selling them, because I can only take 3 suitcases. My short-term memory is an issue. I cannot remember if anything I had of value was in Beirut. So I'm gonna look at my inventory again. If anything's valuable to sell in Beirut, we'll go there. If not, let's just go straight to Alexandria. Okay, nothing in Beirut. So let's just go straight to Alexandria. As night fell, I attended to Monsieur Fogg. I spent a few hours polishing shoes in the lobby. I went to stretch my legs. I attended to Monsieur Fogg, providing him with a haircut with the dear wish he would have a comfortable night. Relations with Fog have strengthened slightly. Alright, let's get out of here. Embark. Hire extra space, let's go. Oh, we got such a robust vessel to travel upon. The Nefertiti was a tall-masted Egyptian clipper that sailed around the coastline from Antalya all the way to Alexandria. I asked the skipper if he had considered longer voyages. I was content to enjoy the ride. I asked the skipper if he considered longer voyages via the Suez Canal, but he only laughed. The fees, young man, are quite extortionate. I could not argue with that. Keep forgetting I need to converse with people. I'm just like watching the scene change. Greetings, Captain. Passepartout, come join me. Alexandria. I'm sure you know all about Alexandria. They say Suez is the end of Europe, but in truth it is Alexandria. Is it possible to travel from Alexandria to Suez? Absolutely. Alexandria is connected to Suez by boat, but the fare is very high. Suez to Hyle. We gotta get there. We gotta sell our fine silks. Is it possible to travel from Suez to Hyle? Maybe, but merchants in Riyadh will pay fantastic amounts for demijohns of olive oil from Hyle. But answer me this. Tell me, monsieur, do you like puzzles? Indeed, I do love puzzles. I find that exercise the mind wonderfully. Mine is called Mina, and there is everything wonderful about her. There is nothing and everything wonderful about her. Are you dissing your wife? That's not cool. Oh, only Captain Ukraides knows about this route. Okay, so these are valuable information. Is it possible to go from Suez to Jeddah? No idea, but now I hear that Al-Rashids plot to capture Jeddah from the Ottomans. So should we stay away from there? What is Lahore? Is there a route from Suez to Lahore? Maybe, but you can pick up saffron crocuses in Lahore that will sell for a high fortune in Hong Kong. Goodbye. One of the longest conversations we've ever had. Okay, there's Hyle. We gotta go there. The evening drew on, and the crew served gin slings with great cheer. The captain nodding to me as the liquor was poured. Enjoy, he called. I saluted him with my glass. And savored the cool drink as the sun went down and fire and smoke across the sea. Have you been to Egypt before? The captain asked. It is truly an amazing place, a birthplace of innovation, of thought itself. Many places make such a claim. A truly ancient and mysterious place. I did not touch a drop. Oh, many places make such a claim, I observed. The captain laughed. Most don't have the rocks to back it up, he replied. I gripping himself in a most unsavory way. Did you know that artificers have rebuilt the library? I did not. What good building a new library does them, I do not know, since everything in the ancient one was lost, but it gives me hope that my country can be great once more. We landed in the harbor at Beirut just after dark, and I suggested to Monsieur Fogg we leave the ship, and we watched the crew unloading crates and replacing them with others. It reassured me somewhat to see others with more luggage to carry than I. News. Famous dancer seen in Novo heading for Tehran. I feel like conversing is more beneficial. I woke late the next day, the sunshine, heat, and rocking water having lulled me into a very deep slumber. I attended to Monsieur Fogg immediately, though unlike most gentlemen he managed to successfully dress himself and even procured a newspaper from somewhere. The sailors were stretched out on deck enjoying a moment of calm. An hour or so later, they were swarming the rigging and the masts and bringing us slowly into the bustling port of Alexandria. About time. Ooh, several of our possessions could be sold handsomely here. I agree. There seem to be no departures today. We should explore a little. I agree, but let's check out the market. Alright, let's sell our leather bracers. Let's get the African airships. Okay, Tehran was... No, wait. Sorry, I didn't mean to click out. But we do have new routes discovered. Excellent. Ooh, valuable and high. We're definitely going there. A tot of rum. Shirker's rum will lubricate tongues and keep even a gentleman warm. Sea dog and soldier types. An Egyptian scarab. Small bronze beautifully carved. That'll fit in our luggage. Let's go to the hotel. I had been surprised to hear the site of the ancient library of Alexandria had been purchased by the Artificers Guild. The practical ladies and gentlemen of the guild were not the kind to indulge in such sentimentality. Decidedly odd. I went inside. The long halls were cooled by some hidden gently humming mechanism. The students moved about with calm fastidiousness and naturalment. Everything was in superb working order. There was little idle conversation. No doubt the guild was attempting to instill single-minded seriousness in these students. As I wandered the campus, I passed a room from which a curious green light flickered. I took that as my cue to leave. I peered through the keyhole. I pushed open the door. Now, I'll be a little curious. I peered through the keyhole and observed a strange sight. A young woman labored over a projector of some kind, which threw light out onto the wall via a tiny aperture. But from where I peered, I could not see what was projected. Is that Madame Curie? I don't want to get exposed to radiation. I think that would take a severe hit to my health. So no phantasms then. I left the door and explored the rest of the site, finding nothing but empty workshops and half-made contraptions. And also she is in the middle of something. You do not want to interrupt her or make her jump or scare her. Where can we depart to? Go to Suez. We took a small boat from Alexandria to the top of the Suez Canal, which had only been recently opened. We passed other ships very closely. The captain, a curly-haired, genial Egyptian, noticed my unease and grinned, "Do not worry, my friend. I have not sunk a boat in, at least a year." "A year?" I all but screeched. "You have not." I noticed his peals of laughter through my haze of horror. "It is not kind to mock me." "Well," he responded equably, "you paid for passage, not for kindness." "And what would that cost?" I inquired grumpily. "More than you can pay," he told me, with a mock of sorrow and a dancing light in his eye. "Don't worry, my friend. We are nearly at Suez." "Greetings, Captain. Ah, my nervous friend Passepartout. I'm sure you know all about Suez. All sorts of people pass through Suez. It is a melting pot." Suez to Hyle. "I don't know, but listen, Hyle is the capital of the Al Rashid Emirate. Is it possible to travel from Suez to Rub al-Khali?" "I don't know, but listen, the Rub al-Khali means empty quarter. Goodbye." Our captain was, for all his frivolousness, a deft navigator, and we sailed into the canal at exactly the expected hour. Monsieur Fogg was, in his own rather cool way, in raptures at our timely arrival. Alright, we're going to go ahead and end this episode of 80 Days here. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye!